pretty early stuff. That tells me when to enter. Early and short?
Yes.
Early and long?
Yeah,
Never know.
that's right.
That's amazing, Happy.
We're going a little fast, creating a lot of bubbles, so you really don't see what glaciation.
Oh, right. Give an example. What's down there then?
Maybe a tire?
A tire?
tire.
Really? You can actually throw
Maybe a
your
beer bottle,
rice?
maybe a
They use,
whiskey bottle.
they use tires for fenders on the pier, and sometimes in your big storms, you know, they'll break off and end up down
Oh,
there. Yeah.
You guys don't go down and get them?
Well, you know, that's an interesting question of why we don't pick up the tires. First of all, it is, I'll give you the answer. You know, the pier is state property. Okay?
Oh, is it?
Now, no offense to anybody that works for a state, but you know how quickly they get around to doing things. So, by the time the state actually decides they're going to go and pick up the tire that fell off the pier there,
Yeah.
coral has started to grow on it now. Some fish made a home on it, and now you have your environmental group saying, no, you can't pull the tire out because you're going to kill the poor things. So it becomes a catch-22.
Oh, yeah.
That's why the tires are still down there.
Uh-huh.
They don't really, they are there, but they don't really harm anything. They're just a tire. So they don't really harm the water for fish to live in, so to speak. So they can serve a purpose to a point, but the main reason why they're there is because it took too long to take them out.
Isn't that? Yeah, well, that's believable.
That's why I say no offense to anybody who works for a state.
Yeah.
Or is it just Hawaii? So everybody looks comfortable.
Down here look like porcupine.
The one that looked like black sea urchin.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an urchin. You'll also notice some more collector urchins. Okay? It's a long ways away. Okay. Now, as far as tropical reef fish, they say that we have about 700. But if you compare Hawaii to like Indonesia and Malaysia, we're looking at just over 8,000 species of fish. That is a lot. 730 compared to 8,000 is. That also gets the, you know, it's a very educational movie. Of course, for most people, they didn't realize, but you know, knowing some of this stuff and then seeing the movie, hey, that's pretty good, you know. They hit it on the nail on the head, you know. But travel around the world. So when most of the fish that you're seeing are in the larval stage, so majority of what you're seeing down there, unfortunately, through the years, some of those species have all environmental laws. When you folks arrived to Hawaii on the airplane, you did an agricultural form on the plane and passed out, claiming that you weren't bringing anything to Hawaii that you're not supposed to bring. Yeah, so that you don't throw off the balance of nature. For now, but years ago, if you brought the family pet over, they went from the plane, they went straight to quarantine. You could see your animal at the quarantine place, but otherwise, they had to, you still got to go through the whole process. The quarantine thing, but you do it at home with a chip. They made it easier so it's easier on the animal. Because a lot of people were bringing young animals, you know, 4 months in quarantine, and come on, the animals say, who are you? Older pets that people want to bring with them 4 months. As you're looking down there were basically 3 types of corals. That is called lode coral, L-O-V-E, lode. Okay, if you've never seen brain coral, it actually develops in big round mounds and finger coral. The finger coral is kind of grayish in color. Those right now coming up with these boulders, they're the ones that develop in little round isolated clumps. You can see them on the. So those are your cauliflower corals. And those are the basic 3 types that you were they. They also move with the motion of the water. Having no skeletal frame, so to speak, they're very flexible. Anyway, so they never made the trip. We're now getting to the outside of the bay where it's not so protected. And when the waves get really big, these big boulders you see down there, they'll start to roll around like they're nothing. Yeah, amazing power. And believe me, it can kill you. But it's enough to move these boulders around. Of course, you know, you might say, well, how does he know that? Well, during the last major hurricane in Hawaii back in the 80s, you know, before then, you go down and all the boulders are like upside down. Because if you take a rock or a boulder and you flip it over, it's a different color. That was our September 11th. Not the same year, but a different year, but the same date. what do you see? Whole school of yellow ones? Yeah, whole school of yellow tangs. Those pretty yellow ones. And of course you notice more yellow, like real estate sign, maybe you'll say Gold Coast Realty. Kona is sometimes known as the Gold Coast. You know, we got the gold, baby. That's double yay so big. That's called the naso, N-A-S-O, or the orange spine tang. Okay? And okay. First of all, fish don't chew like we do when they eat their food. When you get a big predatory fish that eat other fish for a living, same thing with seabirds. Okay? Seabirds, what do they do when they catch a fish? You watch the birds, and you see it on TV. When a seabird catches a fish, he'll grab it, and he'll flip it around in his mouth, and he swallows them head first. Always head first. Okay? Same with fish in the ocean. When they eat another fish, head first. The reason for that, next time you get a piece of fish, or you go to market, you see a piece of fish, take your hand, if you don't mind the slamminess or something, but you take your hand, you put your hand on the head, and you go along the body like this to the tail, you won't feel anything but a smooth fish. But if you go from the tail towards the head, watch out, because it's going to have a lot of pokey things in your hand. Right. So same thing, when a predator eats another fish, they eat them head first, and when the fish goes down, it goes down with all the fins laying down. If they go tail first, it all sticks up, and it's a rather uncomfortable deal. Yeah. So that's why, yeah, you always eat them head first. But it's an interesting, test you can do with fish next time if you remember that. Head to tail. Don't go the other way. Okay, what's happening right now, you notice that it got a little shallower. There's a couple windows. This is what we call shipwreck rock. It's a large lava rock pedicle that comes to within just a few feet of the surface of the water. We know that we can drive over it, not hit it. So it gives you a nice close-up view of the reef. There's some very beautiful fish that live on and around. You'll see the little white specks. The depth of the water all the way to the bottom around the big rock is about 25 feet. The rock itself is not very far under. Now, if you had a sailboat that had a deeper draft keel, you would hit this rock with the sailboat. But then most sailboats will draw like 4 or 5 feet of water, if not more. And they'll definitely touch it.
These small fish, there's a lot of small fish.
The little tiny ones,
ones,
little tiny dark colored fish you see down there. No, those are not baby fish, those are full grown. And that's about as big as they get. And some are called damsels and some are called crosses. I always say they got little fish syndrome. Because a lot of tropical fish are also very territorial. They actually set up home on the reef and they will defend that home, fish up to 50 to 100 times their size. So what's happening with all these little ones that you see, they're all swimming around down there, they're all looking up at us, they're trying to scare us away. And they can't really succeed. But they would try. They would try. If you actually got into the water and dove down there by that rock, all them fish will be in your face trying to chase you away. Yeah, they don't care. Of course, for a lot of the fish, the first instinct is to run and hide too, though. That's their main protection. The reef is catacombed with a lot of little nooks and crannies, and that's where all of your marine life run and hide to. But also in the nooks and crannies is where all of your nocturnal marine life are hanging out right now. So maybe nothing really big, like squirrel fishes, and also your lobsters, your spiny lobsters, they're all nocturnal. And of course your beautiful seashells. A lot of people look and say, are there any shells in Hawaii? We don't see any. There's none on the beach. You're never going to find a seashell on the beach. Don't waste your time walking the sand looking for seashells. You're just wasting your time. Because by the time the shell reaches up there, it's in the form of what we call sand. Because the shoreline is so rough, the waves will just break up that shell by the time it reaches there. Now it's only pieces. Okay? But shells are nocturnal. As you're looking down, you don't see any. Because right now they're all hiding. They come out at night. Now, depending on what kind of shell it is, some shells are found in the reef, others are found on a sandy bottom. Like your conch shells in the Bahamas and stuff. Yeah, so some live in sand, some live in the reef. Like this particular shell I have here, or these two that I have here. But as I used to say to some people, it doesn't matter whether it's 19,000 feet or 10 feet. Once it went over your head, that's all that counts. Right? If you fell in, it's the same depth. You can't touch it. They came up with the name of Blue Hawaii Just look down there. There it is. A pretty blue one. If you jumped over the side right now, open your eyes underwater, that's the same color you would see. All of a turquoise blue. But it's not deep enough. You can see the bottom. So this is what the water will look like in the Bahamas on a clear day. Like this color. So we just went off the deep end just to show you how quickly the reef dropped away, for those of you who were curious as to how far out did the reef extend. Now the reefs in Hawaii are called fringing reefs. They fringe the side of the island. And that's only because the development of any reef is really determined by the amount of sunlight that it can obtain. And as we all know, the deeper down you go in ocean. But 19,000 feet, it's pretty deep, but that's down there. That's one deep hole. And they have no idea what's down there. It's funny because we know more about, we got submarines, they got submersibles that go down to like 10,000 feet. Maybe almost 15,000. They have sonar, but as far as visually seeing what's down there, we don't have the technology to go down that far yet. Somebody jumped rope right down there. Yeah. New races when you have to new races. So don't go with that basket that you move to the finish line and somebody's not going to be happy with you. In the straight line. So to keep the race even, you put it all together. Right. And so if you move that block, you move the finish line. They're not going to be too happy with that. But during the summer months is when they have the last race in Hawaii, the Kuri race, was a race from the island of Molokai to the island of Oahu. It's a 41-mile long distance race. That is probably the most, but they kind of close it up a little bit. But still, the waves are like 25 feet high and the wind blowing about 30 knots, and you're going, why am I out here? And you start the race, and the first 3 miles of the race, Owl Point, and you're in a channel, and you go, and all of a sudden the water went from this to like that, and you go, oh my God, and you look, and about, now you're 2 hours into it, and you're getting kind of tired, you look at Oahu and go, the island ain't getting any bigger. It doesn't look like it's getting any closer, and they would have been doing it for 2 hours. I don't know how many more hours we gotta go. They're all drinking in the bar in Waikiki. All fit gentlemen, and they all decided to dare each other. Because the Ironman actually consists of 3 events. Those 5 guys said, you know what? I bet, you couldn't get out there and do all 3 of those events in one day. They said, oh yeah! So the next morning, the guys got up, took their bikes, went down to Waikiki Beach, got in the water, and swam 2.5 miles, came back, jumped their bike, rode all the way around the island of Oahu, and they ran the Honolulu Marathon, all in one day. And that was the start of the Ironman. In February. But because it got to be such a well-known event, and to help with the athletes coming from, the mainland, they moved it to October because, if it's held in February, most of the people are coming from dead of winter. So that's your Ironman. And that was all last week. I mean, you still see some of the Ironman, people still swimming. And this is the swim course. The swim course is in front of you. Starts from the pier, which is that way. They go down. You see those brown roof condominiums down there? Directly outside of that, that's a 1.25 miles down, is where the turnaround. They get on their bicycle, and they get on the highway that goes out towards the airport, which is this way, and they go 54 miles to the northern tip of the island. Oh, the makuli?
Oh, look at all those fish.
Look at all them fishies down there again.
Oh, look at that. Oh, yeah, look how many there are.
That's what those guys are fishing for off the pier. And one guy's still there. These are called big ice scad. In Hawaii, they're called akule. And during this time of the year, well, actually in the early summer, this school came into the shallow waters of the bay, and they were probably only about bigger. And when they get to be full grown, about maybe yay so big, the school was shadow in the water right in front of us. It's always dark. That's a school of fish. Another one. When we drive over that school, you're going to see all them fish now. Oh, look at them go 100 miles an hour. Make your eyes go all cuckoo.
Oh,
Make your eyes go all cuckoo.
yeah, look at them.
These are smaller than the other ones. Oh, they scattered. Yeah, but the amazing thing is, you